Even on a night when Connor Phillips and Luis May got into the ballgame, it was all about run prevention for the Cincinnati Reds on Monday.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every single day. My name is Stephen Offenbaker. His name is Jeff Carr. We are lifelong Cincinnati Reds fans. We are lifelong baseball fans. We've been podcasting about this particular team for a combined 14 years. We love talking baseball. We love talking about the Reds, and we love talking about those things with you. On today's show, a little bit later, we're going to dig into Hunter Greene's second start since returning from the injured list and tell you what we expect from the Reds ace, or co-ace, maybe we'll call him. Also, we're going to dig into Matt McLain because he's not going anywhere. Just like I said, he's not going to the minors, and I just maybe have won Jeff Carr over. We will find out a little bit later in the show. But where we are going to start is your Cincinnati Reds went out on a West Coast trip and started things off with a win, believe it or not. It wasn't a barn burner. It wasn't a high-scoring affair, but the Reds scored just enough runs to get it done, and they kept the Angels from scoring very many at all. That's where we're going to start here in just a minute on today's show that is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet right now. All right, Jeff, let's get into this because that was an interesting game. It was fun to watch. There was a lot of highlights. Ke'Bryan Hayes continues to be the gold, platinum, all the medals glove over there at third base. The Reds scored some runs. They put up 4. They held the Angels to 1. That means you win. But there were a lot of things in this game that if you looked at the box score, you'd be like, wow, they still won even after all that. So fun game to watch.
First of all, the Cincinnati Reds stranded a small village on the base paths. And yes, there were some interesting pitching, especially after Brady Singer left the game for a couple of innings between Connor Phillips and Luis May. But that was the state of the Reds bullpen. They have been taxed and overtaxed and overused so much over this past weekend against the Milwaukee Brewers that Terry Francona basically said, look, here are my guys. We're going to set them up and hopefully they don't get knocked down. And that's exactly what happened. They did just enough. And like you mentioned about Ke'Bryan Hayes, we might have the call of the year when it comes to the Reds and the opponent's broadcast. When it came to the play that Ke'Bryan Hayes made after kicking off of Brady Singer's foot, and he barehand throws it to first and gets the fastest guy on the current Angels roster out at first. And Matt Vasgersian for the Los Angeles Angels was like, no, not again. And that's exactly what he said into the mic on television as Ke'Bryan Hayes throws out the runner at first base. But I was so impressed with the Reds' new third baseman for the next couple of years and the way that he played defense in this. And oh, by the way, he hit a triple thanks to the fact that the Angels decided to put an infielder in center field. But hey, you got to hit him. And he hit that thing really hard, ended up hitting a triple, scored a run. I think I saw from Matt Wilkes that it's the first time in like 25 years that the Reds have hit 3 triples in a ball game. So there was a lot of like, look at this. This is a lot of fun. And then there's a lot of, this was kind of concerning. But at the end of the day, the Reds got the win.
Yeah, some big things in this game, Jeff. 2 hits from Gavin Lux, including that big first inning home run.
It was big too. He crushed
with a triple. Yeah, Elliot De La Cruz with a triple in this game, scoring on a short sack fly. I love that those get to be sack flies when nobody else is scoring. Austin Hayes, a couple hits. He
looked good too. Like we said, he needs I thought he needs an IL stent if the quad's still a mess, but he had a triple and like you said, scored on that short sack fly. Speed looked fine. I think he's fine.
When he was running the bases, he was just he was gliding. There was no hitch.
That's along.
That's Ellie. I will say though, Jeff, I'm going to stand by what I said yesterday, which is I'm kind of done with this 162 game experiment with him. I don't care that he plays in 162 games. I care that he's available and ready for a postseason run. I would sit him down on Wednesday and let him have all of Wednesday off, let him have all of Thursday off, and then start that Diamondback series with a rested Ellie De La Cruz. That's what I would do with him. Austin Hayes, 2 hits. Noelvi Marte, 2 hits. Noelvi Marte, he is really impressing of late, Jeff. If you look at Noelvi Marte over the last month, his last 30 games, he's hitting 301 with a 325 on base and a 478, not a 7, a 478 slugging.
If it was 7, I think we'd have a few more wins.
I mean, there's 4 home runs in there, and slugging a little bit. There's 4 home runs in there. But he's RBIs. He's coming on.
It is clear you cannot take his bat out of the lineup, and so that's why they've put him in right field. They're like, we've got our third baseman in Ke'Bryan Hayes. Quite frankly, Noelvi Marte is not going to play shortstop in the major leagues. You've got a couple of guys that are ahead of him on the depth chart there. And so you got to find a spot for him. He's athletic enough. You can put him in the outfield, see what happens. And he's still a work in progress defensively. I mean, there was even a fly ball in this game where it kind of seemed like he misread it. He was still able to stick his arm out and catch it. But this was early on. I want to say it was like the third inning or something like that.
I don't know if I would describe his outfield play as graceful at all. He's very lumbering. It's almost like you could dub a football call over Noelvi Marte catching a ball in right field. I can almost hear Chris Berman with he's rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. Oh, he got it. I could hear the call going that way.
Or one of those where he's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Like that's what it feels like when you watch Noelvi Marte in right field. But on those plays, I mean, he's got the arm when he can kind of make those plays when you need him to. I think that he can just learn defensively, learn the routes, learn how to read the ball. I mean, he has learned all his life to read the ball from the left side of an infield. Now he's got to learn it from the right side of an outfield. A little bit of a different view there. But I think overall, this experiment is beginning to work. And even Cowboy said on the television broadcast last night that he's like, what he is doing right now is the makings of a middle of the order hitter. And so the Reds got to keep running him out there.
And I think we should probably take a minute, Jeff, and talk just for a moment about Jose Trevino, who is filling in for a nicked up Tyler Stephenson right now. And over the course of the last week, the last 7 games, 26 at bats, smaller sample size, but still 269 batting average, 286 on base percentage, slugging 308, but lots better than he was over the previous, say, 2 to 3 weeks. He seems to be kind of coming out of that dip. Now, we've talked about how great he was when the season started and he filled in, and it was really a value to the Reds in how much they really missed Tyler Stephenson while he was gone. But then Trevino took the dip that we kind of all expected would come, and it seems like he's bouncing out of that now, kind of peaking back up. And I think the real Jose Trevino is somewhere in the middle. He's somewhere in the middle of those two places, which is just fine. I'll take that production from the catcher position when Tyler Stephenson is not playing.
And he looked good in this game as well. But getting back to the pitching side of things, like when you got to bring in Connor Phillips and Luis May, like I don't think people understand just how much of a roller coaster ride it is to watch both those guys pitch, because there's going to be a pitch that they throw that you're like, oh my goodness, that was nasty. And then the next pitch they're going to throw is like, oh my goodness, that was gross. What was that? Like
Luis May is not Ricky Karcher, but also I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was in the batter's box.
Oh, I would. I mean, it's coming at 100 miles an hour. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt if it hits you. But on the other side of those guys is a guy that we don't talk about a lot. The one thing that we say about Scott Barlow a lot this year is that this dude seems to pitch every day. But he came in with the best game of his season and got a 4-out save. All 4 of those outs were strikeouts. His pitches were awesome. He did have that one walk, but all 4 strikeouts in this game looked amazing, shut the door, especially in the 8th inning where Luis May had put 2 on and the tying run was on at the plate in the form of Joe Adell. But Terry Francona pulled the right strings because Joe Adell can't hit the breaking ball. And what does Scott Barlow throw? The breaking ball. And he absolutely destroyed Joe Adell at the plate. This was a great night for Scott Barlow. And I think it's very underserved, I think, our praise of Scott Barlow this season. He's been good.
Yeah, he's not flashy. He's not exciting. Yep. There's not a big light show when he comes into the game at GABP. He's just, it's just Scott. Scott's coming in. Cool. But that was his 61st game last night as a Red this year. In those 61 games, 56 innings pitched, Jeff, 61 strikeouts. So he's getting it done when he comes in. If you want to just take a really smaller sample, really dig in on what he's done over his last seven outings, Jeff, 7 2/3 innings over his last 7 appearances, he has allowed exactly 1 earned run in that time. He's getting the job done. And you're right. We don't praise him enough.
Learn the name. It's Scott Barlow, and he's awesome. He's the kind of guy you want coming out of the pen in a playoff game. But you know what, Steve? There was an RBI that I kind of mentioned it because I said that Q Brian Hayes scored after he hit a triple, but he was brought in on a sac fly by a guy that people once sent down to AAA. Coming up next, we're going to tell you why Matt McLain ain't gone nowhere. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans that live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. The odds on Joe Burrow to be MVP will never be better than they will be on August 26th. And quite frankly, that feels like a great bet because the Bengals have really set him up that he's going to be the reason that the Bengals succeed because of their defense. It's horrible. He's going to have to throw like 1 billion touchdowns, and I think he's gonna. So this is probably a really good bet for Joe Burrow to be MVP. Plus, I'd put a little bit on the Bengals to win that AFC North Division title in 2025 as well. That's all over on the FanDuel app. Start planning your futures bets now for August 26th and FanDuel Futures Day, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you for making Locked On Reds part of your everyday routine. We appreciate everybody out there who are everydayers. If you're not, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. And when you do, you'll also get Tim Daniel and the Reds postcast going live at the end of every Reds ball game right here on the Reds YouTube page and in your audio feed shortly thereafter. All right, Steve, we got to discuss this. And we talked about this already. This was probably about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, when we discussed really in the middle of his slump to begin the year, should Matt McLain be sent down? And back then I said, yes, if only just to see the ball hit the grass, because I don't think there's anything he can learn in AAA. It's just to see success happen. But I've come around on this because of Tyler Stephenson. Tyler Stephenson, you might remember, in the year of our Lord 2022, broke his collarbone because a foul ball hit off of that, and it had to be surgically repaired. He didn't play the rest of the season. He came back in 2023, and he had a rough year. And in fact, after 2023, there were people that were clamoring for Luke Maile to be the starter over him. Of course, he bounced back nicely in 2024 because at the end of 2023, dude was hit with a lot of power. You know why? Because they stuck with him. They let him work through the problems. That's the answer here with Matt McLain. He just got to work through it.
Yeah, his shoulders still got to get right. And it's right, but it takes time. We've seen this with shoulders. We've seen this a lot of times with shoulders. It's a confidence thing. And also, it's just an at-bat thing. Remember that, he missed an entire year after only playing part of a season in the bigs. And this is honestly his sophomore season where everybody slumps just a little bit. So all of the things are happening. People want to send him down, and I maintain that there is nobody at AAA, and don't come at me with Sal Stewart. There is nobody at AAA that for a fact is going to come up and be better. You just don't know. Now, we're going to see Sal Stewart. It's going to happen in September, and then maybe there's a conversation to be had depending on how those at-bats go. But right now, nobody knows. But what I do know is Matt McLain, 9 times out of 10, plays second base like a Gold Glover. What I do know is Matt McLain has the ability to hit for a little bit of pop, and he missed a home run last night by this much, and it would have been a 2-run homer versus a sac fly, right? You look at Matt McLain's last 30 days, Jeff, it's coming along a little bit. He's hit for 264 batting average. His on-base percentage is 317. He's definitely not hitting for very much power. He's got 1 home run in that time span, but his at-bats have looked good. The ball has been coming off the bat very good. He's just not quite barreling it up just yet. And I think that's going to come, and it's going to come at the perfect time, September, when the Reds need to jumpstart and push and build a wild card lead. No, you don't send Matt McLain down.
And that's the other key with this too. Like, the guy that you would put at second base right now is not South Stewart. You put Gavin Lux at second base. But Gavin Lux cannot hit lefties, and we saw that again tonight, like where he just got dominated at the plate by a lefty reliever and Jose Fermin. And he was a guy that was kind of giving up some meatballs to right-handers. It's just he was able to shut down Gavin Lux. And I think that when it comes to where he is in the season, the slugging's not there. But I simply believe that that's still him getting his confidence back, getting his swing back, understanding the muscle memory involved in his good swing. The good swing that he had in 2023, Steve, produced an average exit velocity in over 250 batted balls, average exit velocity of 89.3 miles per hour. Do you know how far he's fallen this year?
I don't, but you're going to tell me.
He's at 88.3. So, huge gap. Absolutely monument. No, he's not that far off. Like, I honestly believe that there are some numbers on this paper, and there's, people look at his Baseball Savant page, and when they understand the Blues and the Reds, there's some blue on Matt McLain's page. Ain't no doubt about that. But there's not that far off on some of the key numbers, like the weighted on base average and things like that, where he was amazing in 2023. And when you take a look at the hard hit numbers and the exit velocity and things like that, it shows that there's not a huge jump for him to make to get back to where he was.
And to your point on Gavin Lux, because there are going to be people after last night's performance that are going to be saying, play Gavin Lux in there every day, give him second base. It's his, he's earned it. Versus right-handed pitching, Gavin Lux, slash line of 298, 373, 417. Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Against right-handed pitchers, find a place to play him. Cool. Against left-handed pitchers, Jeff, his slash line is 180, 281, 200. He shouldn't be anywhere near the field, nowhere near a batter's box if there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound. So let's be realistic when we say we're going to bench Matt McLain and play Gavin Lux every day. That is not realistic at all. It is not an upgrade. It's a step down against left-handed pitching.
Well, and the big problem, the big sticking point with Matt McLain right now is power, right? How many home runs does Gavin Lux have in, a decent amount of playing time compared to Matt McLain?
Right. Well, you look at what Matt McLain's doing, you look at what Gavin Lux is doing. Gavin Lux, over the last same sample size, 30 games that I just gave you for Matt McLain, they have exactly the same number of home runs. They have one each.
Yeah, Gavin Lux is a great piece of hitting guy. He's first team, all great piece of hitting, and that is fine. But Matt McLain is an all-around good hitter when he's going. He's just got to get going, and you don't get going in Louisville. You don't get going on the bench. You get going playing through this, and that's how this has to be. There's going to be people that belabor the fact that when he comes up with runners on base and he doesn't come through, send him down to AAA. That's not how the game of baseball works. You don't get one at bat when you're a guy like Matt McLain. You get a lot of at bats. And like we mentioned, there's a 30-game sample size now where he's hitting over 270. And I think we've got to understand what the Reds are looking at with Matt McLain. They're not looking at Jake Fraley. They're not looking at Will Benson. They're not looking at these guys that they've given the tiny bit of chance to, and they're like, okay, we kind of know who they are. They know who Matt McLain is. They know he's better than what he's been, and they know he can get there with just a little bit of a jump.
Let me ask you this. If we weren't past the trade deadline right now, would the send Matt McLain down people be the, oh my God, he sucks, trade him people? Would it be, is that interchangeable?
I've already seen it in kind of like a pre-call to trade him whenever the rumors came out that the Diamondbacks could be shopping Ketel Marte at the end of the season. And they say, well, yeah, trade McLain for Ketel Marte. First of all, that ain't happening. Ketel Marte is really stinking good. But yeah, you're not – none of this makes sense. Matt McLain should be playing as much as he possibly can, as healthy as he possibly is. And I think that that's what Terry Francona is doing.
Well, let's talk about something fun, Jeff. Let's talk about something good. Let's talk about something exciting. Hunter Greene is on the mound tonight against the Los Angeles Angels. And on paper, this is going to be a fun one. We're talking about Hunter's second start since injury coming up next. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. If you think your guy is going to throw for a lot of yards, if Joe Burrow is going to go off, just pick more. If you think that Jamar Chase is going to have a ton of receptions, pick more. If you think that the Bengals defense is going without Trey, just pick less on the sacks. It's just that simple. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. If you can't watch us here on YouTube, you can listen to us pretty much on any podcasting app. We are on almost all of them. If you find one we're not on, you need us to be on it, message Jeff. He can probably make it happen for you. Also, make sure you check out the Locked On MLB feed. They've got Locked On MLB Game Night, where the experts of the Locked On Podcast Network are watching every single game so that you don't have to. Also, you'll get Tim Daniel after each and every Reds game with the Reds postcast. I bet he was a little sleepy time last night after that finish of the old late night Reds on the West Coast. But the beauty is that I live in Hawaii, so it's decently timed Reds games. I love it. All right, Jeff, let's dive into what is on the mound tonight, because that is Ace 1A. Hunter Greene makes his second start since coming back from the injured list. And just to recap what Mr. Greene did his last time out against the Philadelphia Phillies, it was a win for the Reds, 8-0, as Hunter Greene threw 6 innings of scoreless baseball, allowing just 3 hits while dominating the Phillies lineup, basically striking out 6. The Reds need some more of that tonight.
He outpitched Christopher Sánchez, and Christopher Sánchez is a guy that is in the Cy Young conversation right now. And I believe that if Hunter Greene had been healthy, he would be in the same conversation, because he was dominant against that Phillies awesome lineup. I mean, he was absolutely working his pitches in and out of the zone. The thing for me, and we talked about it after the game, but I'll reiterate, the thing for me that was really impressive was the fact that he threw 10 splitters and he got a 50% whiff rate on that pitch. That's the third pitch that he's really trying to develop here into a weapon. We know that the 4-seam fastball is a weapon. We know that the slider is a weapon, and he's really built a great 1-2 punch out of those 2 pitches. But if he can come at you with a body blow, with a splitter, maybe even drop it in, get a ground ball when he needs to, we are talking about a complete ace in Hunter Greene. And really the only question moving through the rest of this season and into the rest of his career is, how healthy will he be? Because a healthy Hunter Greene is the best pitcher on this roster.
Oh, absolutely. And this whole game, really, the matchups, the way it's shaking out is really in the Reds' favor. Now, I know you and I around here are reluctant to say things like that because of the Locked On Reds reverse.
We know what happens.
We know what happens. But Kyle Hendricks is on the mound for the Angels tonight. You know, just looking at his season, he's pitched in 23 games. This will be his 24th game, 4.88 ERA and 120 innings pitched, Jeff. He's not lights out. He's not dominant. If the Reds can put up some runs and Hunter does his thing, this could end up being another one of those games where Hunter Greene can get you 6 or 7 innings. You can use bullpen group B again, and that really gives the Santillan's and the Pagans of this bullpen a great rest, a several-day rest to get ready to head into the Arizona Diamondback series. So I love the way things match up for the Reds versus the Angels. And the Reds are going for their 10th straight win against the Los Angeles Angels of Southern California, North, South, whatever, how many ever cities they have in their name.
Anaheim, Fullerton, something like that.
You know,
and Hunter Greene
only.
Right. He only threw 85 pitches in that start against the Phillies. So it's not as if he overtaxed his arm to get through 6 innings. Like, I think that, we could have seen him gone a little bit more, but I think that Terry Francona was wanting to be careful with him his first start back in 2 months. But now he can go full bore.
He threw just the right amount of pitches last time out. Just the right.
He did, but I think he can go longer
Yes.
in this start, especially knowing where the bullpen is, because you're right. Like, I really think it would behoove the Reds to have one more game where they can avoid going to the A group. Maybe if it's something where Graham Ashcraft closes out this game, or you go Sam Maul to Graham Ashcraft, then you are really going to be playing with house money on Wednesday and going into the weekend as well. But I find this start to be so fascinating for Hunter Greene, because this seems like the kind of start he should absolutely mow people down in. And I don't necessarily want him focused on the strikeouts, because that is why he was so successful against the Phillies. He still had 6 strikeouts in 6 innings, which is a solid rate, but he was so pitch efficient. And if he can continue that, that is what has made Andrew Abbott's season so impressive, is that every time out, he's not beating himself. He's not adding extra base runners. He's not taking guys to full counts and consecutive at-bats. He's just doing a thing real nice and easy and getting back into the Reds lineup so that they can go score him some more runs. And we saw the blueprint on Monday night. Score 4 or more. I mean, obviously more is good, but score 4. You score 4, I think you're beating the Angels whenever you score 4 runs, because I just don't see this Reds team really blowing up in either one of these next 2 games.
Yeah, if Hunter is Hunter and the Reds score 4, I think we could see a pitching combination of Hunter Greene followed by Brent Suter and then Graham Ashcraft, and that would make me very, very happy. Get through that game with a win after getting through last night, having Luis May and Connor Phillips before Barlow was in there. That is a real bullpen success over a 2-day time frame. And then I'd feel really good about where we are heading out to Phoenix. So
and go Nationals, because if they win 1 and the Reds win tomorrow night, it'll be a tie for the final wild card spot.
That's right. 1 game out as we're recording. 1 game out of that final wild card spot. Plenty of opportunity for the Reds over the next several days. These 2 series are important, Jeff. You and I talked about it, and I don't think we actually talked about it on the show. I think we talked about it in prep, but you and I are both looking at what we want over this series and the next, and we said 5-2 is acceptable, 6-1 is better, right? Because they got to play the Dodgers after this in Chavez Ravine.
4-2 is good, 5-1 is better, because they're only playing 6 games.
They're off on right. Math is hard. I'm on a delay out here, but yeah, we 5-1, 4-2, but that's what we want them to land in because of that series coming up with the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine.
But I feel like if things go the way that they should, and we keep saying this and knock on wood, cross the fingers, all the different things, trying not to make sure that we jinx anything here, because we love to do that when we're talking, glowingly about our Cincinnati Reds. But if things go according to plan tonight, I really think that a sweep is well within expectations.
You said it out loud. Boy, we are just tempting the fates of the things from the
We're
above.
tempting the fates.
With the locked on curses around here. Oh my goodness.
Come right at us. You come right at us if the Reds lose, because it'll definitely be our faults, but because we're giving up all the runs and not scoring any. But at the same time, like I really think the Reds could set themselves up for a 5-1 week here with the way that they're playing against the Angels, because the Angels can be had, and they did the thing that they should do in each of these games, and they scored first. Score first, get to 4, and get out of there with wins.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And that is probably a great spot to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thanks, as always, for making Locked On Reds your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you check out Tim Daniel and the Reds postcast after each and every Reds game. He's going to go live and talk to you about what just happened. For your next listen, again, go check out the Locked On MLB feed. Scully's over there giving you a national perspective on all things Major League Baseball, and the MLB Game Night folks are over there with all of the experts from the Locked On Podcast Network to watch every single game, so that you don't have to. Until next time, we will be gathering up the news, the notes, the informations, the rumors, and the reports, and bringing it back right here to keep you locked on Reds every single day.
One late night Reds down, like more to go.
Decently timed Reds. That's the hashtag.
Is it 8? I think it's 8. Yeah, it's 8 to go. All right. We can do this.